And coming here live from Volcan Wolf of the coast of Ecuador. I am your host, Yaku of Yakuzaku, and with me today I have El Torturado de Aguachino himself, Light_VIP. How we doing, Light? Also, what are we doing?
What's up, guys? We've made
I
it.
turned you up way too high.
Way too high. I only need to go up like an extra 5% or something from what I was.
I increased you by 15.
That was a mistake, but what's up, everyone? We are finally here. It's the final day of Spicy League.
It is. It, in fact, is. And you know what? What better way to start off the final day of Spicy League, Light, than with some walkovers?
it's been this league. You know, it's been great when we've had full series, which have happened. You know, shout out to the players and teams that have made that work. But unfortunately, you know, as always, there are a couple of walkovers. Only one though, or two, I think. So it's not too bad. It does mean though that we won't be starting off with Cerulean Fall, unfortunately.
It indeed does not. As we all know, the most folliest of ceruleans.
I don't think that's how it goes.
We will gonna be starting in on Black Pepper Grinder, otherwise known as Redshift. Hashtag not. Wait. Something along those lines.
Hashtag my shift.
Something
Yeah,
along
this is
those
it.
lines. Something along those lines.
I miss it. And you know what? As you said, Black Pepper Grinder, it reminded me of a map that I kind of miss. The purple maps like Black Pink or Neon Violet Square, Neon Violet Holds. The Pachinko map.
That
was
the glory days. The Pachinko map was, if I'm not mistaken, it wasn't Neon Violet Square. No, it was Neon Violet Square. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
The other one was Black Pink.
Yeah, Blackpink, and I think there may have been a third purple map. I can't. It's been so long, but yeah, I miss those as well. You know, if you're tuning in for the first time and you're looking at the map pool and you're like, wait, hold on, this doesn't really make sense. Spicy League, every single week we've had a unique old map pool.
That we have, and I was hoping that, you know, for the final day we would go into a little bit of an all-star sort of dream pool, if it will, but I'm happy with what we've got. We have just about the best maps of 2018. Let's see how it goes. Well, the best maps and Redshift.
Yeah, and we are just getting a little bit of feedback. Yaku, to turn yourself up a little bit.
I can't turn myself up, but I can speak louder. That is, sometimes you gotta go for the simpler solution.
Yeah, maybe turn me down a little bit, because in OBS you can give yourself more gain, but it's a little bit dangerous to do so. Yeah, you can. You shouldn't do it too much though. Gain gets real loud real quick.
I just bumped the slider up to the max.
Yeah, you can apply a filter to go even higher. Yeah.
Anyway, let's go on down to. No wait. It is my My shift is about to start. We're gonna be jumping in now with a TVZ, starting on Redshift, otherwise known as Befeifengesicht.
Wasn't that the other map? Was that this map?
Yeah.
Was that this map?
That's why Gemini went on Twitter every day and said, "Hey, Black Pepper Grinder, am I right?" Alright, and speaking of Black Pepper Grinder, we are in fact here, starting off with a purple Zerg, all the way from the land of Costa Rica. It is gonna be our purple Zerg representing TSOP, the Texas something. That is a flag of Texas, I'm pretty sure. Oh, it's a flag of Chile. Oh yeah, it is a flag of Chile because it's like not a big square, or not a big whatchamacallit, blue. Everything's bigger in Texas. We have playing for the, if I can bring up casting tool real quick, for ZergPatch and Jenasin, we have Eon.
And spawning in the top left hand corner of Redshift LE, hashtag our shift, we have the American Terran player representing Alpha X, but here representing, I've already failed my challenge to myself, representing tier 3 goats, it is X-Kawaiian.
Not to be confused with Kibion.
Yeah, they're kind of similar, but yeah, both Terrans, both, that's about it.
Is that all you've gleaned, you know?
Yep. And this is quite a map. This was a very heavily vetoed map, but there are definitely aspects that made it amazing. Yeah. Do you want to go into your famous match against Lumia? I think it happened twice actually against Lumia.
It happened once against Lumia and once against Phoenix. So if you notice, Light, there over here you have a little bit of a pocket base.
Yeah.
But not just any pocket base. You know what? I think a lot of people nowadays, thanks to maps such as Zen and Golden Wall, will probably appreciate Redshift more, as it is a little bit of the proto wall, mineral wall map. I mean, it literally has mineral walls, but instead of like Golden Wall or like Zen, where they are straight up walls, Redshift was a little bit more, shall we say, unambitious with how, or Negative Zero, I believe the map maker was, let's say, a little bit unambitious. Or, let me put it this way, he could have gone a lot crazier. So he went to making the walls into actual functioning full bases.
Yeah, this is the original Golden Wall, basically the OG. Because there was a pocket base, then
gold.
Terrans could Gangnam over to it and float their main CC into the gold and mine that out. Of course, it is very vulnerable to attack from the other side. Unlike Golden Wall, like, it's pretty easy to get to the other side and attack the workers. So it's it can be punished very heavily, but at the same time, it can be really good for early rushes.
It definitely can, and we did see our fair share of those, particularly. I think one thing that Zerg liked to do was to, well, kind of like in Golden Wall now, was to try to mine off just a little bit on both sides, just to get a hole up. But eventually, you know, Terran players, and especially Protoss players, I remember a match where DTs were actually involved with these bases. It was definitely something interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely. And it's cool that we got another red snow map. Last week we had Blood Boil, not Blood Bowl. So it's cool that we had like its sister, you know, aesthetically at least, in Redshift. I love it. I miss it.
Yeah, I definitely do. Snow maps are something that we can have a lot more of. And speaking of older strategies, we do see this bit of an older map being mixed in with kind of the modern meta, if you will. That's a lot of roaches coming out from Eon.
Yeah, we were talking a lot about the maps, and so far there is no lair for our Zerg player Eon, but he is getting a lot of early roaches, and it looks like he is starting to push out across the map with this 1-1-1 opener. The Hellions do spot the roaches, so Kawaiian knows that this is coming. He already has the full wall off. He is working on his first tank, but it isn't quite out just yet. And yeah, he already has a Banshee, and without Galil Reconstitution,
Eon has realized that I am just sacrificing roaches. I will not have enough, nowhere near as much as I need by the time I get across the map. I'm gonna be focusing more on staying back at home and getting to the next phase of the game.
Yeah, definitely. 1-1-1 openers with Banshee work amazingly against Roach, like early Roach aggression. It's kind of like the go-to. Instead, we don't have Kawaiian going for BCs, which I would have expected, especially since this map, I feel like, is pretty small. It's very small compared to others.
Absolutely is. The only reason why the rush distance isn't super the only reason why the rush distance at the start anyway is a bit longer is because it snakes around. But there are always ways to get rid of having to do that. You have destructible rocks, you have, again, the gold base wall.
Yeah, we talked about it where destructible rocks used to be like a bigger deal in the older maps, and now not so much, especially when it comes to like changing the way the map works and the rush distance. It's nice to see again.
Yeah, I think it did start to fall out of favor by map makers for arguably a pretty good reason. It just wasn't something that was really utilized that much by players. So map makers, they decided, why don't we find something else, like some other way to try to make maps
slow
interesting.
zones.
Okay, I feel like slow zones were 50-50 map makers at Blizzard there, but yeah. It was definitely something that I think a lot of map makers did appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool, it's new, right, that we're incorporating it. Maybe a year from now or two we'll have like a combination of all these things, like missile turrets, like slow zones, rocks, towers. Let's see.
Alright, this push here, or this drop here coming in from Kawaiian, trying to get something done, try to clear up some creep wherever he can. Eon gonna be chasing it away with his own roaches though, whilst he works with something that's also a little bit old school. That is Roach Hydra.
Yeah, you rarely see Roach Hydra anymore, and kind of for good reason. It doesn't. I feel like it doesn't scale very well. To the point where we've even seen Miyamaka find some success with just pure Ling Hydra.
Okay.
Not with this. No.
Yeah, no, I thought you were gonna say, yeah, no, it's fallen so far out of favor that Miyamaka has been able to get success with it. I'm like,
no. Like, because this, I feel like just Ling Hydra works a little bit better than this, because you have to spend so much gas in these roaches that your Hydra numbers just aren't as large as if you went just Ling Hydra. So, I don't know. We'll see how this works.
It's definitely just the worst of both worlds in a sense here. But we'll see what can be utilized. In the past, the reason why Roach Hydra used to be really popular was because of how roaches were able to tank for the Hydras, and the Hydras were able to really get their damage done. It's not, again, as you said, you're kind of wasting both gas and supply on the roaches now that Hydras are a little bit tougher. So yeah, we'll just see if Eon can get anything done with it.
Yeah, this is a pretty nice drop here at the gold base of Eon. Was able to kill a couple of queens, cancel the third as well, and he's even denying all this creep spread. Like, it's so awkward to engage this. Like, you can see there are a couple of units on the other side of the wall as well that can't really engage into this army. So far, Kawaiian is doing a pretty good job with his drops.
Absolutely. Eon here trying to get that flank, but not having the ability to do so. Not when that gold wall is still up anyway.
Yeah, and these rocks as well, they're kind of impeding him from engaging this army as he would like. And the creep spread is decent, basically half the map is already covered. So his half at least looks pretty solid. We'll see if Kawaiian can find a way in, as he is sending a pretty large drop to the bottom right-hand side.
Yeah, this is not quite the big multi-prongs that I think we've been a little bit spoiled with in these past couple of days with ESL Dare and ESL Asia, but it is still something that can catch the Zerg player off guard here. Kawaiian is focusing more on having one really strong drop rather than having multiple weaker ones.
Yeah, and he does lose a full medevac there.
But you know what? He only lost one. And
That's
arguably,
true.
having lost one of 3 is arguably better than having lost one of 2.
Yeah, and especially since he killed the base. He killed the bottom right base, so that, again, he is impeding the economy of Eon. Eon, though he did just take his gold base, it isn't fully saturated just yet, but, he did manage to get that up and running. Meanwhile, though, ex-Kawaiian, he's, both players are actually nearing maxed out, and we are having the tanks finally push out with the bio.
Well, they're about to be maxed out, but...
Right.
Yeah, they are about to be maxed out, but if you just look at the unit tab, it's actually a lot more army for Kawaiian than for Eon, because, again, as you said, these roaches, they eat up a lot of supply.
Yeah, it looks almost like we're in kind of base trade-esque scenario. You know, the bottom right base was killed, the gold base was killed as well for Eon, and his Hydras are just pushing across the map.
Alright, well, Kawaiian has pushed out with everything he's got, so there are no defenses home until he's able to free up some of that supply with his drops. Or if he turns around, a lot of tanks here in the gold base are just sieged up for basically nothing. Kawaiian is now in the base, trying to get something, should be able to get a lot of damage done here, but if he's not careful, he will be losing a lot of his own army. The tanks are pulling back. They do see... Okay, it looked like they were about to beat with the Hydras, but the Hydras, they were able to avoid them.
Yeah, I mean, they are on creep, so Eon does see where they are. He does have vision on them, and it looks like the drops of, like, the attacks on both ends are being cleaned up, but in the end,
look at his catch with the Hydras. Well, they were even, but now I think Eon might just be a bit more ahead. Kawaiian, you know, he's still got a healthy tank count. If he can position him well, he should be able to buy himself some time for another drop to try to cripple Eon, but that's definitely a big if.
Yeah, this CC that's flying off to the right-hand side does get taken out, and I'm a little bit worried. Okay, the reinforcements do meet up with the tanks, and he does get them out of there. I was worried they were going to get caught naked, but all the tanks are left alive for Kawaiian, and tanks, he has so many right now. Defensively, they can be pretty good, but if he pushes out with them, he could get caught out of position.
And that is absolutely the main concern. We do see a little bit of back and forth. These rocks have been cleared out, so which means that Eon will have a much easier time getting that surrounds that Zerg typically wants to get versus their Terran opponent. You see Kawaiian just trying to bait a couple of units to come into tank range.
Yeah, and what I'm worried about is right now Kawaiian just has pure Hydra. He has nothing to buffer. He has no Lings, no Roaches, just pure Hydra, and I don't know how well that's going to do. It depends, though. The tanks are currently unsieged.
Yeah, you know how we said that Roaches are bad, or Roach Hydra is bad because the Roaches eat the supply?
Yeah, and he dives on,
well,
and he's going to be able to kill
pure Hydra isn't that good either, but when you combine it with a surround like that, it can get a lot more done than Roach Hydra can.
GG. Yeah, I was so worried about that because he was so deep on creep. As soon as he unsieged and pushed forward, the tanks, the Zerg army just collapsed on Kawaiian, and like he had the army, but he just wasn't set up in time, and just like that, Eon is able to take the first map win for his team.
Well, yeah, for his team.
GG.
GG. Nice to see these sort of, it's nice to see that the basics of StarCraft is still sort of there, so to speak. You know, I guess this is where I start my thesis and cite this. I guess this is where I start my thesis of, well, Brood War maps are balanced based, or no, rather, Brood War balance is based on maps, whereas StarCraft 2 balance isn't based on maps so much. And this would be, I guess this would be part of what I'd cite as a source.
Yeah, I mean, StarCraft 2 is kind of balanced differently. I mean, it's a different game entirely. It's hard to make those correlations when it comes to maps. They do obviously impact the game. I don't think as much as Brood War, unfortunately. I think it would be cool if they did. Because then we would have more flexibility and freedom when it comes to balancing the game ourselves and not relying as much on Blizzard. But
yeah, that's definitely something you don't want to rely on there. You know, it's kind of weird to say this now because the Zerg player won that map, but I didn't notice it back when I was in Platinum League. But I think now I do kind of see what people. I kind of understand when people were talking about Redshift being Terran favored.
yeah. I mean, again, Kawaiian, he was in a decent position. I feel like he had killed a lot of bases and he was kind of starving out Eon. I don't know if there was much pushing him to push out.
Well, he was on 20 SCVs towards the end there.
Or true, he did lose
SCVs.
40. Yeah, he lost like 44 SCVs in that engagement. Yeah, you're right. Like he lost a lot, and he lost that floating CC. So they were both kind of hurting. Yeah, towards the end there.
Yeah, had to do some kind of damage. And I wonder if pushing towards that destructible rocks sort of area actually hurt Kawaiian, or if it didn't make, or if it would have been the same result either way. I feel like it might have been a bit harder for Eon to get that surround if he was on the high ground, but at the same time, it's... You could have gotten that surround anyway.
Yeah, I think definitely looking back on it, I think the big thing was, and we pointed it out as it was happening, all those medevacs got taken out as that, like, as that sort of base trade scenario was closing off. And if that didn't happen, I think Kawaiian would have been more comfortable just dropping everywhere after, like, to try and get back in after he lost all those SCVs. But because he almost, like, he lost the majority of his medevacs, then he was just forced to push on the ground, you know? And that kind of led to what we saw, right?
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Mostly because I don't comprehend.
It's just cool that that something like that, like, that kind of led to that situation. Yeah.
We're gonna go on into our next map, which is actually my favorite map in this particular map pool. Big macro map with a pocket base. You already know what it is because we showed it on screen. 16-bit.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to this because Froby, like both of these players, actually gave us a pretty sick game last week, or the week before. I know Froby was involved in, I think it was on Acolyte, right? He had an insanely long game there. But since I just said his name, let me just go ahead and do this first intro. We have spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, representing himself, the land of America and Terrans, we have Froby.
Playing for the tier 3 goats. And over here up in the top right-hand corner map, all the way in the top right-hand corner of the map, it is going to be our red Zerg, all the way from the land of America. He is going to be representing Psystorm Gaming and playing for the ZergPatch and Jenasin. We have Silky. No, come on, refresh. There we go. Silky.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to this. I'm definitely looking forward to this. I think before Spicy League,
16-bit after only one season, or I think it might have been 2 seasons, that was a travesty. This should have been the next Abyssal Reef / next Overgrowth.
Yeah. This is a great map. I just love the aesthetic of it. It was so unique as well. Just like the blue and the red and all the cubes everywhere. It was just appealing to see.
It absolutely was. The layout of the map, the aesthetic, the fact that there are pocket bases, the fact that, you know, it opens itself up to a lot of harassment potential. Okay, that might have been the reason why they got rid of it so soon. But yeah, this is one of, if not the perfect map for the sort of play styles that I like to play and watch.
Yeah, many games were played on this map, and I do kind of miss it, and we'll see if it holds up, you know, especially in today's meta. We've had a lot of like really long macro games on some of these older maps like Dusk Towers and like Acolyte. We'll see if 16-bit will be that for us.
I remember that Dusk Towers game.
Oh yeah, how can we forget? There were two like really solid Dusk Tower games.
Which just confirms my judgment that Dusk Towers is the best map in StarCraft 2.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Okay, maybe. Okay, we shouldn't go that far. It is my favorite, without a doubt, though.
Yeah. We need to make like a top list. I feel like it's up there, like in top 10 or top 5.
Wax Angel's probably done that, or Suchu.
It's time for you to step up, Yaku. Make an updated version.
Right. It's gonna be Redshift, Metalopolis. What's that other map that you can gang them on? Well, you couldn't gang them on Metalopolis. It's gonna be Redshift, you know, it's gonna be Vani. No, it wasn't Vani Research Station, it was the other research. It's one of the research stations in Heart of Swarm. Eastwatch by the Sea, LE.
What was that gold map? It was in HOTS and Legacy of the Void, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't Legacy for one season, but it was predominantly in Heart of Swarm.
Overgrown facility? No.
It might have been. It might have been. It might have been overgrown
Maybe.
facility.
Overgrowth?
It wasn't overgrowth.
Hey.
Overgrowth was a... It had a gold base, but you couldn't Gangnam on it. Let me put it that way. And speaking of Gangnam, Freon Terrace. That'll be the other one.
Yeah, and here we have, speaking about the game a little bit, Silky does go for an Overlord Scout. He does spot the 1-1-1. Ooh, I like what's happening here, though. We do have Froby kind of faking out a Banshee.
Is it a fake out, though, or is it more of a... or is it something that he's going to transition to later on? It is a fake out, cancels a cloak, and he's going for another Liberator on top of this. That Armory is also about halfway done, and Froby is not giving up, or not stopping any Hellion production. You know what this is like.
Yep.
You know what it is. Why don't you tell us of how your experience facing this particular Hellbat build?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how Silky is able to hold, because, again, Silky was deceived by the scouting, did assume that there was a Banshee when really Froby was on top of that, making sure that false information was given, and, well, it looks like the Hellions are just diving in.
Oh, he restarts Cloak.
Oh.
So it seems like he will... I'm guessing that's more of a contingency plan. If this build, or if this push doesn't work out, then he's going to try to have some other form perhaps later on. Not a bad idea, to be honest. I don't think that that Froby would really be spending his money on other things, but he is losing a lot of Hellions here. I think he just gave up on the Hellbat push.
Yeah,
this is so many Hellions that he's just lost unnecessarily.
For some reason, it looks like he made the decision to change his plan, and he isn't going for a Hellbat push anymore. He's expanding behind this as well, so I'm not too sure what he scouted, or I think maybe
it might have been the Queens, maybe.
Yeah, he might. I think he may have seen the number of Queens, and then decided, okay, I'm just going to transition out of this. I'm not going to commit because I'm not confident it's going to work. So it's cool that he was able to do that. He's flexible enough to do that.
Yeah, he looks like he will be going into... Yeah, we are going to be going into much of a later game here. And Froby, again, as we said, he had his contingency plan set, so he's already got Cloak on his Banshees. Having the Armory early on is absolutely useful when you're going to be playing this sort of mech style that Froby is looking to go for. Smart servos. That'll save you the day. But also not smart servos. The other things that Armories give you.
Yeah, we'll see how he decides to play this mech style, as there are a couple of different variants. You know, there's like the Ferrari mech style, there's like the standard mass tank style. You know, we've even seen some BC variants as well. I haven't seen them be too successful, but you know, they're out there. We'll see as more factories have been thrown down.
If I'm not mistaken, Froby from last week was a little bit more of the old school Thor player when it came to making his mech. So we'll see if my memory is correct or if it is not.
I'm relying on your memory as well.
Why would you do that?
There were a lot of games. That's the thing with Spicy League, is there are a lot of best of ones. They all get played out, and some of them do get blended together. As we do have Froby diving in, clearing out more creep, which is nice. But behind this, Silky going for a Nidus and Swarm Hosts.
Do you remember when 16-bit was in the map pool back in 2018, and a lot of players were experimenting with Nidus Swarm Host builds before the Nidus buff?
I'm pretty sure this was also back when I think the Swarm Host worked a little bit differently. It wasn't the same as it is now. I could be wrong as to when the Swarm Host was changed, but I do recall.
I don't remember any. Froby is. Yep, there we go. Froby is going for that Thor drop that he did go for the week before. It's something that we do always love to see. Now, to be fair, from what I remember from last week, he didn't get too much done, which came down to mostly targeting, right? He was targeting the wrong buildings.
Yes. He wasn't targeting buildings, period, I think, until very late. Whereas he totally could have focused on a hatchery or something. Meanwhile, we do have the Swarm Hosts. Swarm Hosts are hitting at the same time as the Thors, and the Thors are focusing on the Queens instead.
Oh, one of these Thors already goes down, and the other one is looking to bite the dust here. A lot of Spore Crawlers just meant that those Medivacs were not going to be able to get out of there alive. Froby forced to lift his pocket base here, and look at all of these supply depots that are going to be taken out. Froby going to be not supply capped, funnily enough.
Yes, he did. Yeah, surprisingly, not supply capped. I guess he did lose a bit of supply there. maybe luckily, and we'll see if he's able to catch these swarm hosts. Like, he is working on his cyclone upgrades, but he doesn't really have a ground army to chase this.
Well, I'm not sure if he really needs to here.
Oh boy, there's an Itis going on in the main base.
Into the main base. Oh lordy. Somewhere, you know what, like somewhere, Rogue is smiling. And he doesn't know why. Even manages to deny mag field accelerator, and when you're playing mech, that is the essential upgrade.
That's what just
the Terran army is just insanely weaker without. It's not even close how much weaker the Terran army without mag field. How much weaker it is than the Terran army with mag field.
Honestly, what we just saw was like a game-ending move. Not just that he denied those upgrades, but that he killed all those add-ons, and now there's no production. All of these production buildings are forced to stop making units and rebuilding their add-ons. And look how much look at the bank. Like, I don't. That was insanely, like, so much value in that swarm host harassment.
It undeniably was, and Froby, not only is he down an army, he does not have the army he wants that can really fight this. It is mostly unupgraded Hellions, and here comes Sword Ravager. GG is called. Silky gonna be taking it to match point for the ZergPatch and Jenasin.
Wow.
Wow.
GG.
Wow.
Yeah. The Swarm hosts, they did fairly well in that game.
By the way, I hate to stop you right there, Light, but thank you ever so much, Vindicta, for the raid. We are gonna be seeing a couple of your teammates be playing here.
Yeah.
And you will as well later today. I just had to double check the lineup.
I was checking as well. Thank you so much, Vindicta, for the raid. We will be casting Vindicta's series later on in the finals match, I believe. Yes, in the finals match. As currently we are in the 3rd place match, so once this best of 7 is done, we will head into our 2nd best of 7 of the night.
Indeed, this is going to be the 3rd place match, and that will determine which one of these teams will be walking home empty-handed, and which one of these will be walking home with a little bit of cash in their pocket.
Yeah, not completely empty-handed. This is an ESL Open Cup, all right? This isn't an ESL Dare, I should say now.
Yeah.
As top 3 teams do get paid, but again, this 3rd place match, it kind of determines that. So, yeah. Oh my god, I haven't seen this map in so long. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you were talking about snow maps, like.
Yeah, I'm getting flashbacks right now.
Man.
All right.
Man. All right.
Do we want to get into it? Do we?
Let's get on into it. We are going to be spawning into. You can see it on the screen here. It's going to be another TBZ. It's going to be Fracture Battle.
Yeah. Oh my god. It's so white.
Why is it so white? Oh, the background on this map, that's a bit of a throwback as well here. Alright, and so we get throwbacks. Here we have the back throw gonna be spawning in here on Fracture Butthole LE. We are gonna be spawning in on the bottom right hand corner of the map, all the way in the bottom right. It is gonna be our Red Zerg, gonna be representing Icebound Esports, however playing for the ZergPatch and Jenasin. We have Jar Dozer. Can he bring it all the way back home?
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Fracture LE, we have the American Terran player currently playing for Tier 3 Goats. It is Jehefe.
Gonna be representing Sup?
If you say Hendrilisk, I swear to God, you're cool.
Oh, well, it could be Hendrilisk. Let me look at that decal again.
God.
I don't know, I feel like Hendrilisk. No, it could be Hendrilisk.
I feel like you just don't know what he looks like.
Hendrilisk is a bit of a different.
I feel like you just don't know what Hendrilisk looks like. And every single time you're like, oh, that could be what he looks like. Looks like Angelisk.
Okay, yeah, you know, it could be Angelisk, you know.
God
Who
damn.
knows? By the way, Light, I think it's a little too late for this, but I finally figured out the system of remembering the teams.
How?
The name of the team is ZergPatch and Jenasin.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
So if it's a non-ZVZ, then there's a good chance that if the player isn't Jenasin, the Zerg player is gonna be on Team ZergPatch. But
there you go.
yeah, no, we are already on match point, potentially the final match. So I'm glad we were able to figure that out now.
Yeah, as again we are getting into this older map. The first time we're seeing this here in a long time. Fracture, do you have very many memories on this? I feel like this was...
I remember not being able to wall, or not knowing how to wall.
This was like a little bit more of a standard map. I say that, but like the third base is like a little bit exposed.
I feel like Fracture is kind of the Everdream of 2018. It has a very short rush distance. You know, the third base and the main base, they're pretty easy to harass. Well, depending on whether you go for the forward third or the vertical third.
Yeah, definitely. As the third that Jadoza is taking, you know, there are multiple ramps to get in. There is a lot of dead air behind it as well for something like Liberators. So
that's why I liked it.
Yeah, I do recall. I think... Were Tankovacs a thing when this was in the map?
It wasn't.
No?
It wasn't. Tankovacs were nerfed very quickly after 2016 BlizzCon.
Yeah. Which was, of
this
course...
Is the 2018, this is the 2018 map pool.
Yeah, that was the BlizzCon that Beyond won, of course. The good old days.
It was. We didn't know what we had till it was gone.
It's true. It's very true. But, yeah, so far we are getting pretty standard. Gee, that's the second creep tumor that's been sniped by Jehefe. Jesus Christ.
Well, there's a reason why he is called the big boss himself. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one calling him that, but I mean, it's Hefe.
Exactly. What else are you gonna call him? So yeah, really nicely done here, getting a lot of damage with these early units. Meanwhile, Jehefe, as opposed to Froby, is actually going for said Banshee.
Yeah, Banshee's right off the bat, we should clarify. He isn't going for any quick Hellbat timings, he isn't going for any, you know, aggressive early game pushes into a not so aggressive macro game. Looks like he should be going into bio this game. Yep, there's Stim, just gonna be started up. Which again, is another major difference from Froby.
Yeah, definitely. Just showing how these American players do different styles. As, you know, similarly, Jados are going for this Ling Bane-esque style. We'll see if he ends up getting a Hydroden or a Spire. So far, only 2 gases have been taken, so not looking like it just yet, as, you know, there is pretty popular right now to just go Ling Bane into Hive. Could see that today.
Thanks, Dark.
Thanks, Dark. No GSL spoilers, by the way. I know a bunch of people in America haven't been able to see it. Have to catch up on the VODs.
Oh yeah, Dark played last night.
Yeah, that he did. A lot of good players did play last night, as we do have 2 Banshees coming out for Jehefe, looking to try and strike that third base, maybe even go into the main.
Could actually get the 4th base. Now, I don't think 2 Banshees are gonna out DPS the a building hatchery, but it is definitely possible. They actually do.
Yeah, it was losing health there. But, you know, opting to go for drone kills instead. See how many he gets done.
Well, he is focused more on his Hellions right now. Those Banshees kind of being suicided. This is such a good choke point to take out these Zerglings. But on the flip side, it's also a good choke point for the Banelings to come in. A lot of drones have gone down here. A lot of lost mining time. But more importantly, the Ling count has just about been reset here. And in the early game, you don't want to underestimate that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. We'll see if, that comes into play, whether or not there is a push that comes later on, as we do have Baneling's speed finishing up shortly, and Jardoza is finally working on his upgrades. Still no, tech building for Hydra or Spire, which is interesting since he has all of his gases.
I think you did just nail it earlier on, Light. I think that Jardoza might just be going for that Lingbane in the Hive move. Well, it's still relatively into the mid game. No, that is a macro hatchery being thrown down. Jardoza wants to Lingbane it up.
Yep. Yeah, that means we shouldn't see a Spire or a Hydrogen coming down. He needs that macro hatch for the larva. I imagine we'll see an infestation pit pretty soon, but
Hydrogen,
yeah, he's just
actually.
Oh, okay.
A little bit of a non-standard timing here on top of the Hydrogen, but it isn't too late. He is just working on his Lingbane for the time being so that he can, stay alive. He won't die to any pushes.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
he's able to catch out a couple of these drops, staying on top of them, make sure they don't catch him by surprise. Meanwhile, Jehefe, he is ramping up his production. More Raxes are getting thrown down, sticking with this standard bio style, which, I mean, I'm not going to complain. I like seeing Lingbane versus bio. It's great.
It is definitely one of the more exciting dynamics in the matchup. I gotta be honest, I like it a lot more than Roach Ravager versus Mech, I can tell you that.
Yeah,
but
I like it more than Roach Hydra versus on Redshift that we saw earlier. I approve of this a lot more.
But the question is, that Roach Hydra did work out in the end for Eon.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, we'll see as, again, 2-2 are on the way for Jehefe, already finishing up 1-1. Jardoza is still working on his upgrades, but he's ramping up. He has 4 bases, he has the macro hatch, he's got his tech buildings as well. So the Zerg player is starting to just focus on his army right now, and he's kind of where he wants to be.
Economically, yeah, he definitely is. 70 workers at 8, coming on to 9 minutes of the game. That is, I would say, even... Okay, it's not too much. It's definitely where you want to be at this point.
Definitely, as we do have a Ling run by.
Yeah, a couple of Banelings help support this. Not quite going to be getting those SCV connections that you typically look for. Thankfully, these Marines were not too out of position. They were able to come in and reinforce the defense. Jardoza just posturing on the middle of the map. He knows that Jehefe wants to move out, so he's just going to try to catch him on siege. And this is a massive bio army. The splits were actually not required there. Jehefe was able to siege up and just back away from the Banelings and snipe them very, very well.
Yeah, they just weren't enough aliens in that army, and now he's panic making them now. Will they be in time? Because the tanks, they're sieging up.
Well, I don't think there's enough army in this army. Yeah, Jardoza are just about to be pinned into a wall. This split of tanks is just actually really, really good here. And now you see, he kind of panic made the Banelings, as you were saying earlier, Light. And because of it, his Zergling buffer was not there. GG, Jehefe takes it back for the tier 3 goats. ZergPatch will not be winning just yet.
Yeah, GG, and it's so dangerous to do Lingbane run bys, because as we saw, Jardoza, he went for that run by, it got cleaned up, and because of that, he didn't have those units. Those Banelings more important for defense when the counterattack happened. So he kind of attacked. He let Jehefe know, okay, now it's my time to push, and he's like, oh my god, he's pushing. I'm not ready for this. And I kind of instigated it.
Kind of, yeah. I think it was a little bit of Jardoza misreading the situation there. I feel if he was aware that Jehefe was going to go for that timing that he wanted to go for, he could have just played super defensive. He had the macro hatch, he could have utilized it to just pump out a lot more Lingbane or a couple more Hydras there, and just play defensive, wait for his infestation to finish up, go into his Hive Tech. But yeah, he went in with that run by to sort of suss out what Jehefe was going for, but by then it was a little bit too late. Jehefe kept most of his army alive, was more than ready to counterattack.
Yeah, Jardoza, he just wasn't ready for it. It's not. And yeah, Jehefe puts another point on the board.
there we have it. We are not going to have that 4-1 in the end. Let's see if Hefe can turn this around and potentially get us to the ace match here. We are going to be loading in onto Quirky's favorite map.
Is it because he's Russian? Is that...
Nah. It's because he loves to get them boats ready. We're coming in here on 2. I'm waiting. I thought the loading screen would be much quicker, so I would go right into the intro. Take a sip of water now, so appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll see as we will be seeing one of our players make a return. Go for it. What?
Coming in here, we are going to be loading in onto Port Alexander, LE, where the battle cruisers are made. No wait, it wasn't this map, was it?
Wasn't it?
It might have been.
Yeah, it was.
Steel, you're awake. Get in here and tell us what the memes are for the Spicy Meme League. Here, we're going to be spawning in on the top left-hand corner map, all the way in the top left-hand corner of the map. It is going to be our American Terran player, all the way from the land of America. He is going to be playing for the Tier 3 GOATs, as well as representing YMTT, Soppy, oh, maybe it's Hundralisk. We have El Jefe. Could have been Select. No, that's not Select. Select has a very different,
And spawning in the
shape.
bottom right-hand corner of Port Alexander LE, we have the American Terran player. Terran? Zerg player. Representing ZergPatch and Jenasin. We have... also representing Archangel Gaming, Mech Monroe.
Light, I'm kicking myself.
What's up?
Because unless we get into the ace match and ZergPatch decides to feel Mech Monroe, this could be the last time we cast him, and I've only now realized I didn't make a Monroe Doctrine joke.
Oh no. Quick, make one. Quick, go.
Mech Monroe, you know, he's getting the hatcheries, and he's getting the... gonna be having...
eggs.
The eggs. Well, we'll see what his tech choice is going to be from Mech Monroe, and then we'll say, ah, yes, Hydraling Bane, that is very much the Mech Monroe Doctrine. Am I right? Haha, he's going to be protecting his bases here. Much like the Doctrine. Am I right?
Just force it. Just say Doctrine every now and then.
Hey, you know, Mech Monroe, he's getting a queen out here, going to be chasing away the Reaper, such as following the Doctrine.
But you're gonna be like, yeah, he's chasing away the Reaper and Doctrine. Like,
Well,
randomly.
Well, you see, Light.
Mm-hmm.
Eggs.
It's very accurate. As again, we are seeing the returning player Jehefe was able to win the previous game. Can he do it again in another ZVT? Again, the problem though is that Mech Monroe, like, these were played live, one after another. So Mech Monroe, he probably was seeing the last game, probably knows like more or less how Jehefe is playing. We'll see.
Or at the very least, got a bit of spoke to his teammate before this game.
Yeah, Chardozer, yeah. So we'll see if, you know, if he makes some adjustments, if he changes up his style, goes for a different kind of timing.
Well, I can tell you one thing, Light. He's following the Doctrine.
That he is, and Jehefe is actually switching things up a little bit. Last game we did see him go for Banshees. That there are, and the Banshees didn't really do much. These Lings, I want to say they're defensive against Hellions that are going to be coming across the map.
He's still droning up. He's still focusing on getting this third base, you know, getting it to a healthy saturation. But he is only on one gas for the time being, so it might just be defensive for the time being. But once he deals with the Hellions, a massive counterattack. that we do see that the Zerg players don't always go for. It's definitely a bit of a risk when you do that. But it's a possibility.
Yeah. It definitely is. I mean, generally, as a Zerg player, you take your gases a lot later. You don't really need them earlier on, except for Bailings, right? You don't need too many gases for that. But it is kind of odd that only one gas so far. No Bailing nest has been thrown down, no Ever chambers either, and he is slowly banking up more and more Lings. We'll see if he ends up using them.
Well, Pureling is definitely a heck of a drug. The Liberator going to be completely denied here from Mech Monroe. How's that for good neighbors? Am I right?
Yeah, and again, he's just running up more. 2 Evo chambers get thrown down. Still no Bailing nest. Still no more gases. I'm honestly not too sure what Mech Monroe is planning.
SimCity is going to be the answer. It's going to be trying to just get a massive surround on top of these Hellions. Like so. These Hellions are still able to sort of kite on through, but this is pretty good surface area for the Lings. The Lings do get cleaned out, but the Queens are here. They've got enough time. They will be able to deal with the Hellions. Very much so. Just defensive Lings there.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Melee and Carapace, but still no Bailing Nest.
Still no Bailing nest, and he played that out expecting for Jehefe to dive in. That was like kind of what he was setting up for. There we go. Finally, a Bailing nest gets thrown down. Liberator gets cleaned up after killing like a drone or two. So far, Mech Monroe is looking pretty solid, at least defensively.
Indeed, he is. You can look at that third base. Yep, now he's going to be getting his gases, going to be saturating them quite up. And this is exactly where the Zerg player wants to be in this sort of scenario. They've made a lot of Lings, arguably at the expense of drones in the early game, but at this point, look at the worker count difference. Look at how comfortable Mech Monroe is right now. Even going to be working on the 4th base, while Hefe is only now going to be landing his 3rd.
Yeah, and finally we see Mech Monroe going in with an Overlord. This is the first Overlord scout of the game, almost 7 minutes in, and that was also what was kind of odd to me, is that he made all these preparations without really scouting the base at all, so he didn't really know what kind of build he was up against. But like, it so happened that things worked out, and he was able to pounce on those Hellions, clean everything up, and comfortably drone up behind this. So we'll see what Jehefe can do now, since his aggression didn't really give him anything.
Well, the answer to that is... No, you were asking what Hefe was going to be doing, not Mech Monroe.
Yeah, I was... Yeah.
Well, he's going to be enforcing the doctrine. The techs are cut out and immediately surrounded. I have a feeling that Mech Monroe might not even need these Banelings here. There's just so much Zerg here, getting a full surround on the Terran army. Does manage to force Hefe back away, and that's what happens, when you enforce the Mech Monroe doctrine.
That's exactly what happens, as Jehefe is forced back to this 3rd base position, and this 3rd base looks awful. There's so much high ground surrounding it right now. Oh my god!
I just realized that you can get 3 up to 4 prongs here on top of this 3rd base.
Yeah, this 3rd base looks awful. Oh my god. Especially as opposed to the 3rd base that Mech Monroe decided to go for. But we'll see if this comes into play. Interestingly, the armory is actually part of the wall at the 3rd. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, you normally see eBay walls. Ooh, hot pickup here from Hefe. Will not be losing his army. And that is absolute #1 priority right now from Hefe. He, wants to poke in here and there, try to clear a little bit of creep, try to put up a little bit of pressure on the Zerg player, but he cannot afford to lose a single Marine. He is fighting from behind. He needs as much numbers, as much army that he can get for his eventual timing push. He cannot afford to remake that army.
Yeah, losing those tanks early on, wow, that was just such a hefty loss. And here we have a little bit of a multi-prong. We do have a drop to the south and a drop heading towards the north as well. We'll see if Mech Monroe is able to split up his army and defend.
And it looks like he will be able to clear out this southern drop here. And meanwhile, the northern drop is actually going to be completely denied here. A couple of Marines going down. Mech Monroe, Hefe, able to save most of his army, but not going to be able to get anything done here whatsoever. Mech Monroe's getting a 5th base.
I like the cute micro that Jehefe was doing there. To the north, he sent one Marine forward to try and bait the Baneling, which was really nice. It didn't quite work out, and now we have Hydras out for Mech Monroe here in the main base. He's working on Hive as well. I think Hive actually finished.
Hive is done.
So we will be saying 3-3 as soon as 2-2 finishes, and maybe even Ultras.
Do you think so?
I mean, I don't. There's no Spire. I can't imagine. There it is.
Oh, yeah,
Ultras Cavern is going down.
Yeah, I feel like Ultras would be the better scenario. It's just, it's a very we're not on the older patch light, but I do remember that when Port Alexander was in the map pool, it was a bit of a joke where going into Ultras was almost throwing the game.
Yeah, it was a very different time.
That was before that was before the Ultralisk speed upgrade.
Yeah, before Ultralisk speed. Yeah.
All right, well,
Jehefe setting up here. There's a surround is being set up though. This is a little bit worrying.
Well, it's being set up, but only from 2 prongs. Okay, now it's a little bit more worrisome as Mecharo pounces in. We'll be able to completely surround this army as well as cutting off the reinforcements. The Banelings. Oh no, Jefe trying to kite away from the Banelings to the south, and he walks into the ones coming in from the west. GG is called. Mech Monroe enforces the doctrine, and he will be taking that win 4-2 for ZergPatch and Jenasin.
GG. ZergPatch and Jenasin take the win, take their 3rd place. Take their 3rd place, yeah, in this tournament.
Their 3rd place, or their I guess either way works. So it's gonna be like their 3rd place or their 3rd placing, because of it. But I guess either works.
GG Jehefe, you know, he did perform today. He did take out Jodozer, but just wasn't quite there in that final game. And it didn't help that, unfortunately, you know, there were a couple of walkovers as well. You know, they couldn't play out their 2v2 map. We haven't seen Emerald City yet, and we haven't seen Cerulean 4 yet either. So hopefully, we'll be able to catch that in the final series of the day.